And do we?
Roll call.
You'll just call.
No, our people are really,
Brown?
are really discreet.
Bill Everett,
Not here?
not here.
He's in Florida.
That's right. Me, Eric,
Present?
Rebecca Morales.
Here.
Katie Moretti,
Here.
Kenny Mache,
He's in Arizona.
okay, Barbara Nigro,
Here.
Rudy Rickenschutz in Australia, Harry Seifert,
Here.
Romulus Smith.
Here.
Okay, approval of the minutes of October the 9th.
I vote to approve the minutes of October 9th.
Second.
Second?
Yes,
Rebecca.
I
Yeah,
second.
Rebecca had.
Rebecca seconded it.
Okay, any other questions about it? Okay, calling for a motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, item C, approval of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I second.
You okay?
Yeah.
Okay, any comments? Okay, calling for the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. Item D, public comments, in other words, things that are not on the agenda. This is the time to speak up about that and address the board. Anybody have anything?
I just have one comment. Maybe you could, explain where the agendas are posted, Mr. Brown? I just, is it only out here?
Typically here, and typically at the post office.
It wasn't at the post office today.
Okay, then,
There was the school board meeting, but not ours.
okay, well, I apologize.
Okay.
Normally, we put it at the post office also.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure people had an opportunity to read the agenda in advance.
I was pokey this week, so
I know,
sorry about that.
thank you. So I'd like to add one more thing. Some of us are here because, they're concerned about short-term rentals. And I see that item number E, which is to approve a letter. I was at the last meeting also when you all discussed sending a letter to the county to, get some more information about short-term rentals.
Right.
And I think some of the folks here are here because they're very concerned about an incident that occurred in Pine Hills yesterday where there was a fire that almost got out of hand. And it was at a short-term rental without the owner being present, and it was actually a camping site where they had a fire. And I'm hoping, I guess my suggestion to you, at what point we can talk about these further. Maybe you're gonna get more information, or I would also suggest that this particular agenda item, being short-term rentals in general, be for the moment a standing agenda item, because I think it's just becoming more of an issue.
Bill Everett wrote a long letter to the county, which everybody has. And the vote on this would be to send the letter to the county addressing lack of information and so forth on rentals.
Would it be possible to add that, just a discussion of short-term rentals on December's agenda, as me asking for that as a member of the public?
Yeah, definitely will. And hopefully we'll get some comments back from the county.
Okay,
Yeah.
I really do appreciate you all taking a look at this.
Now, I don't know whether it's appropriate for for your discussion relative to the short-term rentals now or under item E1.
Well, that's why I'm asking, I don't know.
I think it would be appropriate now before going to item E1.
Okay, so, I don't know if there's anybody else in the audience that, wants to add a comment to that. I think it just should be, open for discussion now and perhaps as a formal agenda item in December.
And we will put it on the
Okay.
agenda for December.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments?
Is
Yes.
it possible to, get a copy of that letter or read the letter so we know like the essence of what it was?
Extra copy.
Why don't we wait until afterwards?
I just think you have to share it with
Okay.
everyone.
Pardon?
Why don't we wait till we have
We
approved?
don't
Thank
have
you.
it.
Do the letter first and then,
Well,
okay.
Rebecca just gave her a copy.
I only have one extra
So
copy.
you can read it.
Okay,
Yeah.
it has been suggested that the board vote on the letter to the county first, and then you can address the, issue with the fire. Any other comments from the board?
Usually backwards, because they might add something about the fire. in the
Okay,
letter.
Do I have a motion to send the letter to the county?
So moved.
Second,
All right, any comments?
I have a lot of comments.
Yeah.
So first of all, this has been on the agenda since May of 2021, for short-term rentals. So it's not a surprise, it's been on the agenda. When I read through Bill's letter, a lot of the questions were already answered by the people that were here last month. So, does the county, his first question, does the county know how many, STRs there are? I called the assessor's office, they do not. They only keep track of principal residences through the homeowner's exemption. So, that, we've had an answer to that question. Does the county know where the STRs are? They do not, there's no database per the assessor's office. Are the owners of multiple STRs in Julian area? One is, they don't know where they're at, so there's multiple owners of property in Julian, that can be easily, if you have a name, that can be run. Then it was, have the STR's owners in Julian been paying their TOT taxes? So I called the assessor's office and I sent all of you a copy of the email between her and I, she's very helpful. She says presently there are 86 rentals, all registers at short-term rentals, which include hotels, campgrounds, etc. I requested a list of the payers, and as of this morning when I emailed correspondence to her, she said, I haven't had authority from the person and ahead of her, her manager, to send those. So possibly we can get that, possibly not. She said, those that are registered are all paying their TOT taxes. It is not optional per the ordinance 10366. And transient occupancy tax, I sent you all the links, but just for instance, the amount collected in Julian between 2021, 21-22, 22-23 is $1,317,105.45.
Could you repeat that, please?
1,317,105.45. It comes back to us, or to the community in the form of grants and community enhancement programs. If my math is correct, and I sent you guys the list, it's roughly about $490,000 that's come back to the community. It goes to Chamber of Commerce, I think Volcan Mountain got some, the Historical Society,
Art Guild?
pardon me?
I think the Art Guild did.
The Art Guild, I mean, they're pretty generous with that. The Historical Society, Merchants Association, Julian's Women's Club, Art Guild's a Historical Society, I think, Hubble's Place down there got some, the Heritage Foundation. There's quite a list if you care to go through the links I sent you and review it. So a lot of these questions we're answering, we've asked, we already have the information. So I think it would behoove us as a group to maybe ask questions, build on these questions and ask them based on the information we have. I think, I asked the young lady I was working with at the tax assessor, or collector's office, does the county, why doesn't the county would be VRBO and Airbnb the agreements to collect those taxes when the reservation were made, and she didn't know the answer to that. I mean, that's a pertinent question, I think. And the other pertinent question is, are there other communities? Because I did speak to Greg Kasmer after our meeting, and I said, I just wanna make sure I understand that, the county council is saying no to a special district in Julian. He said, absolutely, they're saying no, it would have to be a countywide ordinance.
Katie, I will ask the other planning groups
Hang on.
if they have any.
That's fine. So I went in and picked an arbitrary weekend in January, and I went on Airbnb. They showed 324 vacation rentals in Julian. When I went on to VRBO, they showed 109. So there's discrepancies between the if that's where we're getting our information. Well, on VRBO, I went in and I did the, I wanted homes with kitchens, living rooms, so that it would be like a house, and they came up with 44, of those 44, 5 were in Ramona. Went to Borrego, 305 under Airbnb, 28 under VRBO. Alpine, 1,000 under Airbnb, 119 under VRBO. I think my point is, Warner Springs, 425, 149 under VRBO. You have discrepancies between the two major websites for Airbnb or for vacation rentals, and I think it's difficult to find an accurate amount of what is actually a house, what is a room. On Airbnb, you can pay to have your rental put time and time and time again. But I think that we need to reconsider this and think about, they do bring a lot of tax and revenue into Julian, which is doing good things for communities as well. It's not all bad.
I love the sheriff.
Hang on.
Yeah, when you started your presentation, you said the TOT is being collected from hotels, camping.
Correct, that's what.
Okay, so it's all mixed up,
Right.
so we don't really know.
Correct, and that's what I said, it's 86 rentals that are registered as short terms. I have requested a list from her, she hasn't been authorized to send it to us. And I don't know if that's something we can request as a public document, I don't know, but I'm waiting to hear back from her. She said she would get back to me once her manager or the person above her either said yes or no.
I'm gonna go in order. Yes.
Thank you. Just trying to understand the data set. So, assuming some of those 87 are not in our target STS, then let's say it's 70 that are paying taxes. But you've established through your research that there are more than 70 out there that are offering themselves up for rental.
So, the hard part about Julian Eric is such a broad area. So if I understood her correctly, when I was working with the young lady from the tax collector's office, she is putting in Julian as 92036. So it's from Wynola to Canebrake. And that's why I asked her specifically if we could get a list of the 86 TOTs that are registered. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to I've been working on it for a week, she hasn't been able to put these.
So you're in the weeds in this. I'm trying to sort of understand the big picture. The big picture to me, what I'm extracting from this is there are a large number that are not registered and not paying.
I don't know.
But the numbers seem to lead us to conclusion.
Possibly. I mean, when you look at the VRBO,
Yeah.
and when you take away the hotels and the one rooms, and they say there's 44 homes that are being rented, maybe it's not as obvious. Unfortunately, we don't have that information. I think that is something that is worth getting to make a determination of what is pertinent to ask the county.
Or us directing county staff who have full-time analysts to do that work for us. I mean, that's kind of the purpose of this letter, is to get them thinking about this and perhaps doing that analysis for us. I don't want to be going down a list of addresses.
But a lot of this information we were given at the last meeting. I think that the letter could be rewritten in a manner that maybe we can hit on those things that are more pertinent. That's my opinion.
So my goal would be to get the county staff who have the skill and time to do this research for us, rather than providing us raw data. I think our objective might be to get them to analyze the situation, see whether, to go onto the marketplaces and see what houses are offered up for rent, compare that to the registered ones, and say, oh, here's one that's not collecting TOT, they're not paying their TOT. And if there's enough of that out there, that's a good data point for us and for the county. You know, maybe that leads them to want to then put a master agreement in place so that all those things are captured.
I mean,
Yeah, but it doesn't address this other concern, which is fundamentally, do we have the right number of them up here, and should we be doing something about it? Should we be thinking about doing something about it?
Okay, Gary.
Okay. One thing about the permits and licenses, that's public information. So why they say they can't give it, I don't understand that. Anytime you have a license for any operating business anywhere in the county, you have public access to that license.
So, again, I'm looking at one girl at the tax collector, it's been requested. Apparently, she doesn't feel like she can do it
That's
without
fine,
having
yeah.
the authority. They're not saying, no, we won't give it to you, they just haven't been able to.
You're next.
I don't have an issue.
I had a question as to how we would even know or be able to find out all the ones that are up here that are not registered and that are not only not registered, but are not paying out their taxes. And, it just seems as if it's kind of getting a little bit out of control now for the number that we have, in that we don't have many rentals, long-term rentals for residents, because so many of these houses have been turned into Airbnbs by people who just invested in a house and don't live there.
Pat, can I respond?
Okay, hang on a second.
Well, I would just like to say thank you to Katie for the work she's put into an opening salvo, because I think that what we're dealing with here is multi-layered, and as we go through the meeting tonight and beyond tonight, we'll see that it's a very complicated issue, and we're just scratching the surface really right now, which I think is really exciting, because we're about to do something. The planning committee is going to do what we're supposed to do, and that is listen to all of you, try to come up with a fair and balanced approach, because as Katie pointed out, the revenue is really important to the town, but there are also ramifications that come from the revenue, like the fire potential or many other things, water, long-term housing for important people that support the function of the town. So it's a complicated issue, and I just would like to remind us of that. We're not going to solve it all here tonight, but Katie, you've done some great research, and I think we all need to remember that it's just the beginning.
So if I could build on Katie's suggestion to refine our question, and also Barbara's concern about this being a complicated issue, I don't think it needs to be something, and it probably shouldn't be something that we're in the weeds with. So what I would suggest, we ask the county if they could compare the marketplace offerings of houses against their database of registered TOT payers, and see what the discrepancy is, if there is one. And that will inform them and us as to the next steps.
Yes.
Yes, and I'd like to remind you that we can listen to the public's concerns, we can pass this on to the county. I'm not sure that we should be doing the county's job. They're the ones who have access to all this data. They should be giving us the analysis. They should be informing the public in the broadest way possible as to what is going on, and then come up with policy recommendations.
Well, that's what the planning group is asking for, Katie.
So, at the last meeting, I walked away with a distinct feeling that the county is not gonna do something just for Julian. When it was a San Diego City project problem, they had a non-profit that was their lead in it. And according to the San Diego City Treasurer's Office, the startup cost for the new program was $1.7 million, and the ongoing expenses are $2.4 million.
I'm sorry, what program?
the San Diego City, when they put in their ordinances for short-term rentals, I think unless it is a unincorporated county-wide ordinance, it's not gonna go through. And
So you're jumping to an ordinance, I think we're just data gathering. We're
But
saying,
we're-
tell us what the situation is.
And then what are we gonna do with that?
Exactly, we'll find out, once we find out what the number is. And more to the point, they're gonna now know that there's an issue because they will have done the research. We're asking them to put their analysts to work.
But we need to articulate what the issues are.
Well, I think that's easy. And this isn't, people know exactly what the issues are.
I disagree with you, Eric, in
Yeah.
so much that the rental problem is countywide.
Yeah.
There's a rental problem in Ramona, Warner Springs, areas that don't have short-term rentals. I mean, Kamisha's here, she's a real estate agent, it's tough to even buy a house. I mean, I don't think, I've said this before, since May of 2021, I don't think taking away short-term rentals is all of a sudden gonna open up a long-term rental.
Good, but you're jumping to the next step. I think the first step is just data analysis, and that's easy for us to ask
So if we're asking for data analysis, we need to send them a letter that makes more sense than what, I believe. We need to consolidate this and make more sense, because we have some of these figures. Ask them, can we get the 89, the TOT information? They don't have, the assessor's office doesn't have it. What is a short-term rental and what is a principal residence. I've always, in my opinion, my opinion hasn't changed for 2.5 years. I just think we are going down a slippery slope, and I have a problem telling people what to do with their property.
No, I agree. You should have that strongly held position at the end, but the beginning is just understanding the problem, and I don't think we're there yet.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call for the question,
Would you repeat the motion, please?
to send the, letter that, Bill,
And I think the letter
Make to the
needs to be
county.
rewritten.
I agree.
And
I think the letter needs to go, but it needs to be rewritten.
I agree.
okay,
That's,
all right, I'm gonna call for the question. In fact, I'll do it by individuals. Your vote,
No.
No.
Katie?
no.
No, needs to
Okay.
be rewritten.
No,
Okay, I'll entertain a new motion.
I'll make the motion that we, somebody will volunteer to rewrite that letter.
What is I'll rewrite the letter. What is the pertinent information that we are trying to find out so that we can, what are we asking the county to find out for us?
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay,
What do we want the county, what information do we want from the county?
I'm ready to respond when the table lets me.
We have a question.
all right, Eric.
So I'm
Make it
responding
quick.
to Katie's question. What I would ask the county is, please analyze the Julian market, however you want to define the boundary of Julian market, comparing the marketplace offering of homes to the registered homes and TOT payers. Let's understand if it's a one-to-one, whether there's a discrepancy or whether there. That's what I want to know.
So by marketplace offering, we're talking any vacation rental, correct?
Yeah, but primarily, if you go to VRBO and Airbnb, you're gonna get a good sense of the number. You know, we're not looking to tick and tie this week.
Okay, do I have a motion on the floor to redo the letter?
Yeah.
Am I correct?
And you have a second? Yep.
Yep, okay. We have a second. We do have a second.
Yeah. I made the motion, he seconded it.
Okay. All right, any other comments?
Yeah, who's gonna redo the letter?
I'll redo it, because I need to know what you guys want. What information do you feel is pertinent that you want from the county? Based on, you don't have to answer right now. If you can go through the information I sent you and say, this, we need more information on this, or, that would be helpful.
And just email you directly?
Just email me and I'll put it in a form and send it to everybody. before-
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. I'm gonna call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So be it.
I have a kind of a question or a comment. I'm struck by the idea that Alpine has 1,000.
I think my point to that, Kiki, is that how unreliable
Yeah,
the
the county's figures are, yeah.
well, not the county figures, how unreliable the two major vacation rental websites are Airbnb and VRBO, and this is coming from them.
Now, I could ask all of the other planning groups if this is a informally, if this is a problem in their area. And I think that might be a good idea to do. Nobody disagrees.
I agree with that because there's strength in numbers. And if other towns are experiencing these same issues we are, it would be good to, it would help us to know who they are and what their issues are too. So
Okay. I stated that you can discuss the same, so to speak, the same issue, and you had a comment.
Yes, I have a few comments. Would that be okay, or? is it-
Yeah, go ahead.
Could you give me your name, please?
My name is John Leslie.
I have to tell you, you don't have to give me your name, but it would be helpful.
It's too late.
Well, then erase that, forget what you just heard.
You already said it, we already know that you're busy.
Oh,
You know,
no.
so you already outed yourself on this.
Anyway,
And I own some vacation rentals here in Julian. And so I'd like to answer your question as to why Airbnb and VRBO show different numbers. When you search on Airbnb, it not only shows Julian, it shows also Santa Isabel, it shows Ramona, it shows other areas because it wants to offer many different options. Also, some people rent out rooms in their home. So Airbnb might show 100 rentals in 80 homes because some have multiple listings for their homes because they're renting out maybe only one room, or maybe they're renting out a room where they live, or 2 rooms where they live. Also, if you search on Airbnb, you'll see that there will be a tax listed on there for people that do collect tax, and they should do that. And also that the county is active in pursuing non-tax compliers because they know how to do this, and I've talked to them regarding this. I'm a retired accountant, so I know all the details regarding this. So they will go in and they will look at a property and they will see when they put in the price, if it shows there's a tourist tax on there. And of course, anybody collecting tax that's not paying it to the government would be in really bigger trouble than not collecting it in the first place. So I think you'll find that if someone wants to go on there and pull up any listings, you'll be able to see who is and who is not collecting tax easily for any property. I love Julian. I've been up here since 2010. I love the people. I'm very aware of issues. I keep very, very good relations with my neighbors. I check on them. They all have my personal phone number. I have cameras on my property for any problems. I've been doing this since 2010. I've had only 2 instances where I've had issues that I know of, where people have had an issue. So I think that the most important thing for me is for my neighbor, if they have a problem with me, to come talk to me. Come say, hey, your guests aren't doing well. You bring in a rotten guest, so we can communicate about these issues and hopefully be able to get numbers and ways to make contact so that we can resolve any problems. Second of all, if I was to turn my short-term rental into a long-term rental, houses are, and I bought a house 2 years ago. That mortgage on the house was $4,000 to $5,000 for and more now, $6,000 to $7,000 now. And you've got an exorbitant property tax rate right now. You have also fire insurance. Is on my property $5,000 a year. I have 2 policies, one for fire, one for what would you want me to rent that house for on a short term? And who could afford that property? Would you say, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month? Who's going to pay that? So I think it's easy to say that short-term rentals are getting rid of all the people that want to rent long-term. Well, in this market here or in San Diego, people can't afford to rent. That's why the homelessness is so high.
okay. Other comments, other people? Yes.
Hi. My name is Kamisha Green. I am a lifelong local, a property owner, a vacation rental manager, and a real estate agent. When I read the letter, my first question is like, what are we trying to achieve when we write a letter to the county? And I think when we go to rewrite that letter, a good position is to really come up with our goal. What's the goal? My goal, or at least what I would look at and think is, how can short-term rentals continue to benefit our community, because they do, and obviously that's up for debate, but they do, but also be positive for the long-term renters and, you know, everybody. Where is that happy medium? And what I come to is that TOT tax can benefit the community a lot, and really what we should be pushing for with the county is for the county to create a relationship with Airbnb. Airbnb has relationships with other counties, to collect that TOT tax through the app. And so it is collected from everybody. That revenue is going to at least double. I can honestly tell you I'm not proud of this, but at least half of the vacation rentals up here are not collecting that tax. So it will benefit the county or the community a lot more. And what it will also do is it will weed out a lot of those Airbnbs because they don't want to pay that tax, and honestly because they're not making that much money, to be quite frank. The market is not great right now, just like John is saying.
That's true.
A lot of us have really big mortgages. I have a mortgage for a house that if I put that up on the community to rent, people would tell me I'm greedy and, you know, how dare you ask that much money and all of those things. And well, it's what it costs. It's what it costs to own that home right now.
Okay.
So I think for me, the medium goal that maybe a letter could achieve is, how can we benefit our community with short-term rentals while also decreasing them? And maybe that is really encouraging the county to form that relationship with Airbnb to collect that tax. It would probably weed out a lot of them, put some of those homes back into the market for long-term rentals. They will be expensive, such as life, very expensive right now.
May I just one sentence,
Hang on a
please?
second.
And it would,
Make your comment short, please.
okay. The
And
only
get to
other
the
thing that I
point.
would have to say
So,
to help
Yes, sir.
people understand
They-
is when you are trying to find the amount of short-term rentals for a little district, Airbnb, the way that they list it, like he's saying, is not that accurate. The way to make it accurate is to go to the map, to zoom the map to where you want it, and then the number will populate correctly.
But it's still not
Okay.
correct because you have different people.
That
who
is
have
accurate,
different
but it's a
places.
lot easier
We're
to
gonna be
zoom
under
down.
control, yes.
So the Airbnb and VRBO will collect tax, but it has to be a law making them do it. That's the only way they're gonna do it. And some cities do have that. So the county of San Diego would have to make a law.
A contract, it's a contract,
Well,
it's a
okay,
contract.
whatever terminology, but that's how that would happen.
Hang on here. Okay. Anybody else in the audience? Yes.
I was just gonna mention that VRBO promotes the fact that they only rent whole homes, whereas Airbnb rents rooms, so that's, I think, part of the big difference.
that's
in the
not true.
numbers. Well, that's what they said.
That's what they say, I don't know why they say that.
Any other comments?
That's not true, yeah.
Yes.
I'm a resident of San Diego, I have a VRBO down, an Airbnb down there. It took the city and committee member, what was your name?
Right?
But she hit it on the head. It took the city 4 years to come up with a program, okay? And 2 different council votes to get a program going. They issued 4 different licenses, tier 1 to tier 4, okay? Each one was different. I think you're rearranging the deck furniture in the Titanic if you think you're gonna get the county to do what the city did. I think the best thing is, and a lot of us are here because of an incident in Pine Hills, I think there, there's a lot of great owners out there, VRBO owners, Airbnb owners, but I think we need to figure out a way, grassroots wise, to take care ourselves of the problems that are occurring, when it does occur. Now that property where the fire was, that's their 2nd or 3rd citation from CAL FIRE. Are you kidding me? Right? And in places downtown where people were doing Airbnbs and they shouldn't, the neighbors would, quite honestly, approach the guests that were coming in and make it a little uncomfortable. So I think we need to kind of like police our own here and not paint everybody with the same brush. But I think if you're gonna deal with the county, deal with Supervisor Anderson directly.
You got a comment?
No, no, I wasn't just shaking my head. I'm speaking, I feel like the preponderance of folks who are speaking up because they have a business up here. I get it. I haven't heard a lot of people speak up who live here. I'm very fortunate to have a neighbor who has an Airbnb.
I have
Okay, excuse me.
What are you talking about?
Without the income property, okay? What I'm saying is, the ones that I value who have been really good have been on site. Their Airbnb is on site, so they're there. I have no trouble with that. But I do have trouble with absentee investor-owned property. That's all I wanted to
But
say.
if you have a long-term rental,
I
you're still on
just
site.
made my comment.
It doesn't make sense.
Go ahead. Okay, now, somebody made a statement in here that, the licensing may not be accurate. Whose responsibility is it to find out who's doing what?
That's the
I know in
county
my
assessor's
part of Kentwood, there's 4 Airbnbs, VRBOs, whatever, and I guarantee you, they are not paying a license fee.
And so
I agree.
they should be called, the county should be called and they should be reported.
Well, I
Okay.
mean, if you're dealing with county code compliance, lots of luck.
Exactly.
There's 6
Okay.
of them for the entire county.
Anybody
That's
else
not
in the
enough.
audience want to make a comment? Yes.
I guess I would, on behalf of the residents who do not own anything other than their home, it is absolutely unbearable. Some of the guests that come to the Airbnbs, they party until 4 in the morning and they're drunk. They are speeding up and down the streets. And one thing everyone fails to remember is in Pine Hills, we have Camp Marcia, the Girl Scout camp, and we have Camp YMCA Camp Raintree. Those are hundreds of children in there. We could have been burned out last night. No one would have known. It started at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm right up the street.
And it was windy.
Very
Have
windy.
Santa Ana.
Yeah, this is my neighbor, she goes,
Yeah.
this is Leanne. And also too, I think, no one's given the renters who want long-term rentals the opportunity to buddy up with someone else who wants to live and work in Julian, then they could afford it. And I think that might be an option, but the long-term rentals, it's gotten out of control. We have poachers, we have drunk people, large numbers, keeping all the neighbors up. This is, it completely destroys the enjoyment of our own properties. And, I'm sorry, okay.
You want to add anything?
I don't know.
Please.
I'll
I
add,
would like to,
I'll add. I'm not shy. I moved here 6 years ago, out of San Diego, because of the Airbnbs and the corporate coming in. I'm been here my whole life in San Diego. Julian was my dream to come here and actually buy a home and live here. 6 years ago, I had the opportunity to do that. I was thrilled to death. I was loving Julian. What the Airbnbs have come in now, in the last 2 years to 3 years, has destroyed the Pine Hills community. And where I live, I have 6.5 mile. Half mile, mind you, 6. Dogs are off leashes, they don't respect your property. Many of them have fire pits. They say they have fire pits on the Airbnbs listed. I love the Airbnbs that the people live on their property. They are small people. They are people that understand the changes of the environment, the changes of the temperature of Santa Ana winds. They control their people that are there. What we have coming in now is big homes that are 4 bedrooms. And now you have your party house. It is no longer a vacation rental. It is a party house. And these people come in, and that's what they're there for the weekend. And they do not respect us, and they do not respect our community. That's what I'm going to
Yes.
say.
Yeah. Yes, it's me.
Yay,
Give me the name
Fred.
anyway. I'm Fred Fabre. I'm an architect and a licensed general contractor, which gives me an insight into some of this stuff. And what I'm hearing right here tonight is an ignoring the intangible. Now, I came to Julian and bought my property in Whispering Pines because it was Julian. And this is what the lady is talking about. Now, we are in this discussion so far, we've ignored what is happening to people who have come here years ago for this kind of living, for a Julian living. Now, we protect somebody with one thing, but we take away from somebody with the other thing. You look at, well, let's change this. Well, how wonderful for whoever changed this, but look what happens to that. And we are, I think, here tonight talking more about the one thing. Pat Brown was on the architectural committee when I came up there, and I had a real difficult time getting a permit to build a house way out in Whispering Pines because Pat Brown and his bunch were trying to protect the old historical building. And now it is slowly decaying. Well, everything changes. You know, I noticed that. Because I grew up during the Great Depression. I'm 120 years old. And I see and accept change. But when it starts to infringe on other people, like it does on us, I can claim to be one of the original Julianites because I've been here almost 25 years. And they say 25 years makes you a native. And they are infringing on my rights by changing the nature of my community. There was across my road some years ago a man who rented his house out, and it became, excuse the expression, a teenage whorehouse. Because he was renting it to anybody who wanted to rent. Fathers came to look for their daughters. Now, I'm not accusing you of bed and breakfast people of that, but I am saying that you are changing our community in a way that a whole lot of people in Julian do not appreciate at all. I have a bed and breakfast next door to me. Wonderful. They live there. You know who it is. It's Ed Glass. And I will accept any number of those people. But I do not accept that for a while now the people across the road from me, for business reasons, had to move. And so they thought, oh boy, B&B, Airbnb. And it was so bad that they've actually changed their mind, and now I have a wonderful full-time rental across the road.
Okay, thanks, Ray.
Now, okay, that's all you need to know about me.
Perfectly
Or
said.
from me.
Perfectly said.
Yeah. Oh, I want to say one more thing.
Good.
I built a lot on the peninsula in Newport Beach. The rich men's hangout, yacht basin and everything. And now it's called the Millionaire's Slum. The owners in Newport Beach moved to motels in the summer and filled all their houses with short-term renters.
Yes.
Happy
One at a
96.
time.
Okay.
Hang on.
I'm just saying happy birthday.
Hang on.
She wanted to tell me happy birthday.
You're gonna
Yesterday
get-
was my
you're gonna have
birthday, let her
orders.
say it.
Happy birthday, Fred.
He's 96.
Hang on!
Make it easy.
Yes.
if I can add, I really don't believe that the county of San Diego is going to somehow limit vacation rentals, so I suggest that maybe it might be a better way is to try to figure out how we work amongst ourselves to manage this by communicating and finding out how to help one another and to get along with, because I really know that the county is not gonna shut this down. Second thing is, the people that come here are spending a lot of money to come here, not only in the town, but they're spending a lot of money, not because they want to get away too. COVID was very busy, he wanted to come to Julian to get away, and they're very pleasant people. They're not terrible people. Yes, they're well, you know what, I wanna tell you something, in
Not so
Pine
much
Hills,
yours.
I had the neighbor across the street that was a long-term renter, and they were horrible. They were the worst neighbor, and I couldn't get rid of them. I couldn't come to the meeting and say, look, I've got a bad neighbor, let's kick them out. So yeah, with everybody, people driving a car, people doing a short-term rental, you can have good people and bad people.
You only have it for 2 days.
My
That's
name's
right, you only have
You
for 2
had a
days.
comment back there?
Me?
What-
Are you pointing
what's-
to me? Yes.
Your,
My name's Tracy. This is my neighbor Lori, and we were on the scene of the fire as CAL FIRE was putting it out. I spoke directly to them afterwards, and they did say the flames were 10 to 12 feet when they arrived. And that if, God bless the neighbor, I still don't know who it really was who called. Thank God they did, because they said if it had been left overnight, homes would have been lost. So I do manage a short-term rental for a very elderly couple in town. They can't do it themselves. I see we don't want to generalize the category of short-term rentals. There are live-in hosts, local hosts, and remote hosts. I don't really think there's much of a problem with live-in hosts or local hosts at all. I'm 5 minutes away from the property I manage if there's an emergent issue. But the people where the fire was, they're a 949 area code, at least an hour and a half to 2 hours away. So my issue, and I think, I don't know, I think it's a valid issue, is that I think there's an issue with the remote hosts. There's not enough oversight. They don't have the capability to oversee what the guests are doing. Are they starting a fire in a residential neighborhood? Yes, they are. So it's a problem. And we're concerned about, while they're negligent, we suffer the consequences of their negligence, potentially.
Now, I remember when we first started looking at Airbnbs, back in the 90s, when I lived over in Pine Hills, and there was one person I know that had a B&B over there, and she was on site, and I thought that was a requirement for the county. If you were gonna have a B&B, you had to have somebody on site, otherwise it could not be called an Airbnb. Red Beckler.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Katie.
Just a takeaway from the last meeting when we had Jill Anderson represented here and people from code enforcement. Code enforcement doesn't get very many complaints, and there aren't really, as I understood it from him, there aren't really any code violations for VRBOs or Airbnbs unless it is a commercial. So if you have a venue that you're advertising to have events at and you do not have a major use permit, that is a violation. He says they also get code violations, they get the reports from the sheriff, and there's not that many. So if somebody's doing something wrong and you're not calling the sheriff, they're not.
They won't respond.
call the sheriff.
They won't
Hang on.
respond. They won't
Hey.
respond.
I'm just repeating.
In order, please, or we'll never get out of
I'm
here.
just giving you information that that the people from code violation gave to us. So if we're saying there's a big problem, but we can't back it up with data.
That's true.
Okay. Barry, you wanna comment?
No, thank you.
You wanna make a comment?
No, I read mine, so.
I think the comment about the sheriff was a very valid one. If you cannot, rely on law enforcement to back you up if there's a dangerous situation or a code violation, then what are we gonna do? So,
Comment?
I have a comment, but and I'll make it quick. It's about, we were talking about the long-term rentals and the mortgages. When you buy your home to live in, you expect whatever it is that, you buy your house according to what you can afford. If you buy your house specifically for short-term rentals, then that mortgage is your key figure as to how you're gonna charge for your short-term rentals. So my question is, how many of these houses do these out of area people have that they paid so much money for and have this mortgage to cover? I mean, if it's your own home, you're not gonna do that. You're not gonna have a $5,000 or $6,000 mortgage if you can't afford it. That's my point. I'm thinking that people just buy these houses for SDRs and.
So you're saying that the housing value will go down if there's no vacation rental?
Come on, hey.
I'm
Hold it,
asking a
hold it,
question.
hold it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that to me, there's a consensus in almost all the conversations about management, and I think that there's responsible management for Airbnbs, and there's also irresponsible management. And to me, there should be a very, Katie, when we're crafting this letter, that what we should be requesting is a very stiff penalty for those that are not managing their properties properly. In other words, the owner should become responsible. And you think about business, if you can make money and you can make a profit, but you also realize that you may be in jeopardy of losing that, then you count the cost and you decide whether or not you can be there personally yourself or hire somebody like a hotel does or whatever. And so this is where it's gonna come to, is that there's gonna have to be a balance of proper management, accountability, responsibility, all of this, and penalty. And then you're gonna have an industry that will be properly managed, and you're not gonna have fires that are being started because the owner is gonna know that he or she will become accountable, and there should be a very severe penalty for that. Well, when it infringes on the safety of the community.
Rebecca?
I'm wondering if we're putting too much onto this letter. We're starting to come up with policy recommendations when we're really trying to get an overall picture. I think there'll be a time when we can do that. But, we can ask questions. Do you know who's managing these properties? Do you know, do you have a way of oversight of these managers? But I don't know. No, well, yes, ultimately, but then we don't have to be the ones determining that.
So I think let's leave it at that. Whatever you guys' pertinent questions are for this initial letter, send them to me. I'm gonna type them up. I won't be here next month, but I'll type them up and get them over to Pat, because I don't have letterhead or anything.
Very good. Okay, make it short.
I will do my best. Is that a U of A hat? Because I went to ASU,
Make it
so
short.
I already have a problem there. I'm teasing. Lori White, I've only lived here about 1.5 years, and I live right across the catty corner from where this incident happened. I had to call CAL FIRE, 2 months ago, because we smelled smoke. CAL FIRE came up, dealt with guests that were, we're not sure if it was the fireplace. Steve might know, because Radney, his daughter, was involved too. But I did talk to another neighbor he comes up once a month or so with his wife, and he told me, oh my gosh, we were up here 2 weeks ago and they had 20 campers and a huge bonfire. We didn't even know it. So I have contacted that host with not much luck. I know Tracy talked to the host. I thought she had told me originally they lived in Warner Springs, but I agree. The people that live here, like this gentleman who, you know, manages, or people that have property managers that are local and can go check on problems, these people are not checking on problems. And, you know, I'm almost ready to put Smokey the Bear along our road, seriously, and make signs in front, because it's people, when I called CAL FIRE, it was 95 degrees that day and someone was burning a fire.
Did you say
So-
there were 20 camp spots there?
No, there were 20, the guy told me that he had glam tents for a while for like $40. And, you know, I think someone said, yeah, there's only 4 of us, and it became a huge party. Yeah, the partying's a whole nother issue. I mean, it's pretty crazy.
Okay.
If you agree, I will write the other planning groups and ask them if if by any chance, this is a problem in their areas, just to get that.
All right. Okay.
And the other, I had one more comment,
Go ahead.
which is I think that we all ought to be more proactive.
Mm-hmm.
When we see a problem, go out and tell people. If we don't take care of our community and our neighborhoods ourselves, nobody will. Because God knows the sheriff never gets out, does he?
That's why
Okay.
nobody calls them.
If you make it short, you can talk.
Okay, I just found out today that there is no ban on outdoor fires in all of San Diego County.
Wow.
So that, to me, is huge. People are, I thought you're not allowed to have fire. I found that out today. And that, it's not even a mandate. It's not even a mandate. People can have outdoor fires. There's no restriction. I spoke to Greg.
Not during red
Jackson.
light, not during red light, so.
Huh? No. Yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up, and also with the insurance issue, California Fair Plan, I don't know that they, accept commercial policies in Julian. I don't know. I have to find out. California Fair Plan does for
Yes, they
commercial
do.
use.
Okay.
Okay, well, I just wanted to be sure.
Can I say real quick, 2 sentences, 2 words. I worked for the county for 32 years. I suggest that if this were more of a priority for Supervisor Anderson, which maybe it will after this meeting, the people he sent out to our meeting last month were really rather poorly prepared to address our
You
issues.
had sent one, the other 2 were from code enforcement that Bill Efford invited in.
Well, okay, well, I'm saying that they were not, I don't think they were quite
Because
prepared.
there's not really any code enforcement
Yeah.
problems with VRBOs
Right.
or
No.
Airbnbs.
All right. This subject, how do we want to address it?
They're gonna send me questions, or what questions are pertinent to the county. I'm gonna prepare a letter. I will just prepare the wording for it and send it to you so you can paste
Okay,
it
and it'll be on the agenda next
next month.
And
Next
I'm
month.
going to ask the other planning
You're gonna ask
groups
the other
if
planning
this is
groups
a
if they
problem.
have the same issue.
Okay. Do I have a motion for her to, address the other planning groups?
Are we gonna do this
Just
informally?
informational.
If it's gonna be informal, why, we wouldn't need a motion to do it.
Okay. Fair enough. All right.
Does that make
Any
sense?
other comments from the board? End of subject. Thank you, everybody, for
No, I
coming.
do, excuse me, I'm sorry,
Yes.
I do. There's a couple of things. One is, it would be nice if we could get a sense of, long-term trends. And secondly, at the last meeting, Leslie had suggested that we learn something about what other communities are doing. What was the community you mentioned?
Well, there are a lot of jurisdictions who have either banned them, they're mostly the municipalities. I know the county won't do that, but some of them have imposed things like, if you have a complaint, well, no, okay, you sell your property, it's a short-term rental. The license does not get automatically renewed as a short-term rental. So, and then they up the, and if you have one complaint, they're shut down. So it depends on the jurisdiction.
In your email to me as far as questions.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. Anyway, Katie's gonna put together a letter, we'll get it to next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. End of subject. Okay. Update on, and report on San Diego River Park Citizens Advisory Committee?
No report.
No report, huh? Okay, group business, quarterly meeting, that's, on,
On my 80th birthday.
yeah, right, December the 9th. Apologize. And then the required training, everybody's supposed to be trained.
Supposed to be.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
okay, all in favor?
Hey!
Okay, motion passes.
We can leave